GameStop received a message from the Pokemon Center. Lower your prices. Which makes me wonder two things. Why does Pokemon suddenly care what GameStop charges for Pokemon? And what kind of game are they trying to play that nobody else sees yet? People on the internet were mad. GameStop will be charging $600 each for Pokemon's 30th anniversary UPC, Ultra Premium Collection. It was $599 for the Ultra Premium Collection. That's what GameStop was charging. GameStop, a multi-billion-dollar retail store with direct distro from Pokemon Center, and deciding to inflate their prices to market, or sometimes above market, and above scalper prices is sickening. There's the Prismatic Evolution Super Premium Collection. Why are major retailers like GameStop and Dick's allowed to sell Pokemon above MSRP? In defense of GameStop, we have people defending them also. The only reason you find Pokemon on the shelves is because they price out low-hanging amateur scalpers. GameStop found a price point for products that gives ordinary walk-in customers a chance to get some product in hand. So we have the inflated prices, we have 90% of people have the opinion that it's kind of messed up to charge that much, and you have some people defending them. Now, GameStop is about to become a full-time Pokemon Center. Physical discs for PlayStation, not going to be a thing anymore. And this is probably a trend that's going to continue. So while GameStop's not going to make as much money on games anymore, they're not going to be able to sell discs. There's not really incentive to walk into GameStop to buy something if you're just buying a digital copy that you could just buy online anyway, probably for less. Here's where it gets interesting, because GameStop walks back their pre-sale prices. All of a sudden, only $400. From $600 to $400 is pretty dramatic. That's a dramatic decrease in a pre-order. The Elite Trainer box is only $100 now. I think they were selling it for $150 or $200. Let me move to the side and let me lower my face. Whee! I'm back. Okay, there I am. I talked with a GameStop store manager who's my friend, and he said there was a big meeting between Pokemon Center and GameStop. Pokemon Center told GameStop that they can't sell at the previous prices and will have to start coming down on everything in the next few weeks. Even if GameStop has to pay higher prices for product when their original allocation runs out and they turn to secondary sources, they still can't charge ridiculous prices. Sounds like Pokemon Center is starting to put the hammer down. This is GameStop right now. It looks like they're not even taking pre-orders anymore. You have to go in-store. And I'm telling you, in-store, the pre-orders are probably already full. According to the market, the 30th Celebration Ultra Premium Collection, $704. Every day someone's buying it for $704. The night version, $789. And yes, it's selling every day. On eBay, it's being pre-sold for under $700, above $700. The Elite Trainer box is being sold for $240 pre-sale. 7 people buying it a day. We see more of these being sold, $190, close to $190. Whereas on TCG Player, again, people just like overpaying on one platform or the other. I know people are going to say, but MSRP, that's cute. But I mean, $100 is probably a steal. This is a lesson I learned the hard way. This is Hidden Fates. Hidden Fates Elite Trainer box. It is currently $555. I want to show an old video. This is an old video that you don't have access to. You see on TCG Player, look at this. 165, 168. There were a lot of people during this time that were saying, we are not paying 3 times, 4 times MSRP. That is way overpriced. Do not buy Hidden Fates. It is not worth $165. And now it's $555. You can hold the line all you want, but that price might not come down. And then, okay, you just don't get to enjoy the hobby. If that's the game you want to play, you just don't get it. But we want to look more towards the celebration side of things, which might closely mimic the 30th. And the Elite Trainer box for celebrations is sitting at $432. But price charting aside, where my mind goes when I see this stuff is, if I understand what Pokemon is doing better than anyone else, then I can make better decisions than everybody else, because I look at it from a business point of view. Because we know GameStop did lower prices, whether Pokemon told them to or not, GameStop had to lower prices for one reason or another. How do we position ourselves if this is true. What does it actually mean? We are in the height of Pokemon right now, and the 30th anniversary is coming, and the prices are so high that Daddy Pokemon Center has to step in and tell GameStop to back off. Yet I'm telling you that the easiest money in Pokemon is going to be ending soon. It's not going to happen immediately. Honestly, the bull run might take another year or two. You don't do well because you're making all of these strategic decisions. This is the set I like. This set I'm going to stay away from. I'm going to do a certain pricing strategy. No. You buy whatever you can get because it's hard to get stuff. And it's instantly more valuable the second it's in your hands. That's the main strategy here. Perfect Order is considered a bad set. Booster packs are above MSRP. And the market says this is worth $215. And that tells you MSRP is still a fairy tale, man. Like, it doesn't matter. Chaos Rising is the closest to MSRP that I see. But Pokemon now owns Millennium Printing Group, which this ties into the whole GameStop thing that's happening right now. Pokemon's also creating a giant printing facility, several football fields long, just massive. And they're telling GameStop to lower prices. And they're investing in infrastructure to actually be able to handle demand, it seems like, when this finally happens. Distributors are now going to be pressured. We're at max capacity. We got to start selling stuff off. It's hard to pick. Our shelves are full. Distributors, when the warehouses are full, they have no room for pallets. That's when they start fire selling stuff. Please buy stuff from us. Prices are going to lower from top to bottom. And the fact that Pokemon is saying don't charge this much means they're very much on board with this happening right now. But when GameStop lowers the prices, that doesn't necessarily mean it's easier to get something. Did that make the pre-order any easier to get? No. If anything, it made it harder to get. Everyone's going to flock to it. So now you're competing against more people. So some people, for example, will pass on a $100 Elite Trainer box, but no one's passing on a $60 Elite Trainer box, a $50 Elite Trainer box, right? So now you're competing with 3 times as many people. You're competing with more scalpers if the store isn't scalping itself. If Pokemon actually enforced MSRP only, that would be crazy because then the scalping would be out of control. The problem is not the price. I'm telling you, the problem is there's just not enough of it. This is the strongest evidence we've seen in a while that Pokemon is changing incentives. Before, you were incentivized to buy everything, to hoard everything. Camping out in front of GameStop or wherever. Use as many bots as you can. And it's making bad press. Parents are unhappy. There's violence. There's collectors who are frustrated. I think Pokemon's finally drawing a line in the sand because I think that Pokemon believes that they benefit more from repeat buyers, repeat business, active collectors, active players. It's more about the lifetime value and the community and the press now. That's what Pokemon is saying. And I think now distribution becomes more important than ever. So like right now, just me getting Pokemon in, I instantly make money from that. During times when it's like a bear market, and I don't even want to say bear market, I just want to say healthy market. During this abundance, you're more rewarded. You get a better price by repeat buying from distro because they just have so much stuff. It makes your account healthier, and that forces these LGSs to be very active with selling, which means it incentivizes them to lower prices or to have a player base come in and just start buying packs, which ultimately all that makes the hobby healthier in the long run. For all the investing bros, you have Pokemon telling stores to lower prices, and there's going to be more competition to get stuff. Before, when there was more scarcity, when it was hard to get stuff, that hides mistakes. You buy even a bad set and you still make money. They plan on just spamming stuff. They plan on spamming the printing of everything. And when they can do that, when the printing is 100 times what it is now in the US, now you have to not make mistakes. Now you can't go all in on a bad set. It will hurt now. And all of these people that think they're so smart, these Pokemon investors, they're going to be cut down by 50%. If they're telling GameStop all these rules, you bet your ass they're telling distributors these same rules. They might be doing that. I don't know. There was rumors that there was heat that they came down on MJ Holdings when MJ Holdings was holding supply back instead of stocking Walmart, and then they were selling it on Walmart.com instead for 3 times the price. That was in the Prismatic Evolution printing era. That was very interesting that I think it was GT Collectibles was their pseudonym, and it had the same address as MJ Holdings. It was literally them just reselling online because they made more money. Investors create this demand and they pinch the market, but collectors who buy all of these sets, even when it's not hype, they keep Pokemon going. That's a healthier customer to them. And Pokemon telling GameStop to shove it, this also means the competitive advantages are going to change. In the future, when they are saying, hey, don't sell stuff for too much to these retailers, and they are going to overprint way more than they are now, the advantage is going to be having an audience, being a trusted seller, how fast you are with fulfillment, having a community that you're building. That's going to be the long-term edge here. And that's why I do things a certain way instead of just instantly selling on TCG Player, for anybody wondering or leaving weird comments. I have a very long-term vision. I'm just not trying to sell during a hype cycle and then peace out of here. You know what I mean? So the competitive advantage from your business's perspective, right now, it's about access. 100% of your advantage comes from access. You need to be able to access product. That is the only question to answer. If you have access, you have everything. But in the future, it's actually going to be execution. In the future, we can actually play business. And if you look at Funko Pop, if you look at any collectible market, the rules always change. Naruto changed a lot. Kaijudo, that TCG I played, that changed. Comics changed. Video games obviously are changing. I touched on that. And Pokemon TCG is going to change again. The strategies that work in a bull market don't necessarily work in a bear market. So if you're like me and you're wondering why Pokemon suddenly cares what GameStop is charging, they want to care about MSRP again. The printing facilities are coming. The 30th anniversary is coming. There's all this bad press, and they are probably going to be favoring accessibility long-term over all this collecting bullcrap, this investing stuff that's happening on Reddit. It's more about protecting their brand in the long term than anything, and knowing that the bear market might be coming. They're going to have an abundance of cards. They want people to have access so they stay in the hobby when it gets cold. Otherwise, they're going to have a major problem. And I think they're trying to create a future where you're not going to be asking yourself, can I get this set? Am I going to be able to buy it? Am I going to be priced out right away? Is there going to be any on the shelves? That's not going to be the question. And if you're a business, the question is not going to be, am I going to be able to get distro? You're going to have it. The question is going to be, what can I do when everybody gets this? And for the big retailers, not the LGSs, but like the GameStops who bring on very bad publicity to Pokemon, GameStop just learned who really controls the prices. Daddy Pokemon controls the prices, not you GameStop. And the rest of the market, they're going to be next to learn. If you like this video, give me a sub. Thank you very much. Have a good day, everybody. Bye, 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 bye. Have a good day. Bye. Do 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 do.